So while we're waiting, how's everybody enjoying the show?
Great.
Has it been good?
Yeah.
Yeah? Made some good connections? Had some good healings? It takes an enormous amount of energy to come to one of these shows as a practitioner. Like everything that goes into thinking about it and then bringing all of our products and our offerings and our services and setting ourselves up. And I was thinking last night as I was putting everything in the car and planning to come up here from Victoria, I wonder what Gypsy's going through. Because if it takes a lot of energy for us to be here as practitioners in front of everyone, how much energy does it take to put one of these shows on? I just think it's so incredible that there are people like Gypsy or Andrea down in Victoria who are willing to say, I want to bring people together and I want to create an environment where it's safe and fun to share these kinds of experiences, these kinds of ideas. So when you see her, do give her a big hug. I think she needs it. So I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Megan Edge, and I am the creator of Intuitive Energy Massage and the Confident Healer program, which is an intensive intuitive healer certification program. I'm also a master healer. I'm an author. I'm a photographer. I'm a mom. And I'm a wife. And I'm a teacher. What I want to share with you today, what Marilyn and I would like to share with you today, is a conversation about energy healing. And why is it that we need another healing modality in the world? And why is it that we even need healers in the world at this point? I mean, don't we have enough doctors and therapists and counselors? Why do we need more? Why create these two healing modalities? I actually have three. I have another one that I'm just putting out now, which is a Nature Essence Practitioners program. So that's the third one. For me personally, the reason that I felt compelled, and really that's the word that I would use to describe it, compelled to create these healing modalities as teachable modalities, is that I feel that for each of us, we have a unique story that is all our own story, right? And while we may have shared experiences, this chair over here, that are similar, our way of showing up in those experiences is going to be unique to ourselves and to the things that we have experienced in our lives. Which is to say that for every person on the planet who may need healing, there should be a healing modality that fits their need. So we can have thousands and thousands of different kinds of healing modalities cooperating with one another, working together to help everybody on the planet, right? And while some modalities are going to work for a lot of people, and some modalities are only going to work for a very specific few, it depends on what the focus is of the modality, the fact that there are people in this world who are willing to heed that call, heed that compulsion, and create these beautiful healing modalities is, I think, an absolute testament to how amazing we are as human beings, right? So when I started to do my work as a healer, I began by teaching. That was how I grew my business. So I was offering workshops on intuitive development intensives. I seem to like to have it happen in a short period of time. I was offering that as part of the way in which I was showing up in the world as a healer. And what ended up happening is that many of my clients became my students, many of my students became my clients, and many of them became my friends. And out of that came a community of healers, supporting one another and helping each other out, and creating a culture of collaboration instead of competition. That became the foundation for the Confident Healer, which is the Healer's Intensive program that I have. And everything that I've learned and every way that I show up in the world as a healer, I now teach to other people. And the interesting thing is that every once in a while, I'll get someone saying to me, but why are you doing that? Aren't you just creating competition for yourself? But what did I just say about how each of us has our own way in need of healing, right? I don't see it as creating competition for myself. I see it as creating colleagues for myself. There are enough wounded people in this world that we're not going to run out of clients. And quite frankly, if we do, thank goodness, we've done our work. The world is healed. I can go become an astronaut or contemplate my navel. I don't have to do work any longer. Right? There's enough clients to go around. In fact, we have a disparaging statistic in that there are more people who need the healing than there are people who are able, willing to do it, right? The world needs healers. 100% we need healers. And if you think you might be a healer, if you've had people say to you, you always know the right thing to say, or I never thought of it like that before, or I always feel so good when I'm around you, you may have the healer gene in you. And on that comment, I want to pass you over to Marilyn, because Marilyn has a story to share with you about how she recognized and acknowledged her own healing abilities, and then chose to take the risk to step into it fully to become a healer. Marilyn, please.
Thank you, Megan.
You're very welcome.
So I met Megan 1.5 years ago, March. It was in March. I went to the Metaphysical Network, the Nanaimo Metaphysical Network. How many of you have ever been to that? There's a really great networking group that meets at the Unity Church on East Wellington Road. They have 2 sessions a month, and the topics cover the map. It's everything from extraterrestrial, life after death, near-death experiences, and then Megan comes along, and she's talking about intuitive development and a confident healer program. And she's talking about this 10-month-long course, and I'm going, I asked for that. I asked for something that would be giving me momentum. And I love it. It took me 3 times of seeing her that week before I finally gave in, because I was really dragging my feet. But it was like, well, why would I put out for something like that, have it presented to me, and then turn it down? That was kind of like, all right, I'm gonna do it. Because you can't even imagine the scope of what's going to be covered in 10 months. And the retreat that's part of it as well. I mean, that retreat just blew my mind. And the things that we did.
But this is not an advertisement for the Confident Healer. I want to hear about you and you being a healer.
Okay.
And I think that's what everybody wants to hear about. But thank you.
So while I was taking that course, Megan was starting this other thing called the intuitive energy massage. And I thought, oh, well, that sounds cool, because I've taken lots of other courses in healing, and I have not followed through on them. But this one had practicums, and it had an exam, and you really come out confident about what you were doing. So I did that last year in the fall and in the winter, and now I'm learning how to teach it, which is even cooler, because then I'm going to have people around me who can train and do it as well. And it's an awesome modality. I love how it's driven by intuition. I've done 3 people today, just a short one, and each one it was like, okay, this is what you're going to do with this person. This you leave out, but this you do, because this person needs this. And it was just surprises me every time that happens. But it does, it happens every time I do it. And I have people tell me, for instance, after they've had the session with me, I have a chronic headache, but it's gone now. Like, oh, I didn't know she had a chronic headache, but the work that I did on her relieved a headache that she's had for so long. And I've had someone who was just about to have cancer surgery, and let's just say probably kind of tense, and he left relaxed. To me, that was such a blessing. And when I work on people, I am in a state of bliss myself, so I have no complaints. doing this work at all. To me, it's an essential part of my life.
So why did you want to become a healer, Mary?
Why did it? Well,
Yeah.
I know, that's been I've been wanting to do it for many, many years. And, okay, yes. When I was growing up, I was taught that what Jesus said was, you were all supposed to do this. I touch people and heal them, so I always believed in healing touch. And he healed from a distance, he healed by touching. All of those things, to me, that's what I believed. We were supposed to do that. And he said, even from what I remember reading, is that he said even greater things than this we will do. And the more healers that I've seen coming into the world, there is a wondrous array of what people are doing. And it is a blessing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a good, oh, thank you. It's a really beautiful question. Why would one want to be a healer? But more importantly, I think, is the question, why would one want to be healed? Because it's not an easy journey, the healing journey. How many of us in the room have been on the healing journey? Maybe for a long time. Maybe you're just feeling it starting. It takes the carpet that you're used to standing on and it rips it out from underneath you. And everything in your life changes when you decide it's time to do the healing. And I honestly don't believe that there is a person on the planet right now who isn't in need of some kind of healing. In some way, in some capacity. Because being human is not for the faint of heart in the first place. This is not a picnic. It's an amazing experience. I love being human. I love all the complexities of it. I love all of the intricacies of it. I love the physical bodies that we get to inhabit and the relationships that we get to have and the emotions and the feelings that we get to experience. I love all of it. And some of it's really painful. And I think you could go through your whole life and not do any of your own healing work. My belief system would say that you're 100% guaranteed to come back and do it again. If you haven't grown even a smidgen in one lifetime, chances are pretty good your soul is going to say, yeah, do over. We're going back. Let's stick a little closer to the story. Let's stick a little closer to the plan. Let's see if we can shift, move, and change something up. Why would you want to heal? I've had people I've spoken to at events like this, in conversation, who said to me, but I don't need a healer. I'm healed. I'm good. And I say, 100% awesome. That is fabulous that you're healed. I've had clients come to me and say, I don't need to work on my father issues. I've done all that work already. Well, then why is it coming up again? There's another layer, right? You did all the work that you could do at the time that you did it, and you did it beautifully, and that's great. But now something else is showing up in your life right now, and it's triggering a deeper response, and now is the time to do that deeper work. My personal belief is that we continue to heal throughout our whole lives. I hope to not wake up one morning and decide that I'm done. I'm healed. I don't need to learn anything more. I don't need to experience anything more. I don't need to do anything more. I'm healed. I also don't believe that to be healed is the ultimate goal, right? Because I choose to come from a place of the belief that you are actually perfectly fine right now. There's nothing wrong with you. Now, you may not believe that, but the way I see it is, if we start from the point of the belief that there is nothing wrong with us to begin with, then we can build on what we have already created for ourselves through the healing work that we do. If we come to the healing journey with the belief that we're broken, it's going to take us a lot longer. to get to a place of feeling good about ourselves. So why not start with feeling good about yourself in the first place and go from there, right? Physical healing, soul healing, and energy healing. Much of the focus of our healing systems in North America has been the physical. And most of it is reactive. It's not preventative. So we deal with the problem when the problem shows us its symptoms. Right? We don't go and see the doctor because our thumb hurts, we go and see the doctor when we cut our thumb off. But what if we could learn preventative medicine, preventative energy healing? What if we could step ahead of the need for the symptom to show up in such a way that we can't ignore it? What if we were to be brought up with a belief that we can learn how to take care of ourselves? That we could learn how to believe in ourselves and how to love ourselves and how to be in right relationship with ourselves. That's one of those ideals, like all of us are healed as well. But what if? Can you imagine what that would be like? To know that you're strong and you're courageous and you're brave and you're beautiful and you're loved. And you can love others. And wouldn't that be amazing? What energy medicine does is to acknowledge the physical body and all the ways in which the physical body shows us and communicates with us its needs. And in my belief system, it shows us that through the pain that we experience, the diseases that we experience, and the injuries that we experience. What energy medicine does is then looks at the whole story. So what's the source of the sprained ankle, of the cancer, of the illness? Where did it begin in the story of that person's life? And how is it now showing up in the physical body? So the energy medicine does not disregard the physical body. In fact, the physical body becomes the template. It shows us what we need to be looking at. It directs us to the areas of the body that we need to pay attention to. And then we can take that knowing and we can overlay it with our understanding of energy, which we all are. We know this. Who has a square reader? Who's ever done the square reader thing when you've bought something? There's probably lots of practitioners here who have it today. And you know how you sign? With the tip of your finger? Because that's an electromagnetic pad, and that's how the signature shows up. If you need evidence that we are electromagnetic beings, it's right there. That energy that surrounds us holds our emotional experiences. If we had it in place in our society to be able to heal at the emotional level first, it wouldn't ever need to show up in the physical body as pain or limitation. But that isn't how we know things yet. We're learning about this now, or we're relearning about it now. And so it does show up in the physical body. So this is where energy medicine brings together the physical and the energetic. But it also brings together the soul, the spiritual piece of our experience, the spiritual piece of our journey, whatever that is for you. Right? Energy medicine is non-denominational. I don't care what belief system you have, I don't care what religion you have. That is irrelevant to the capacity for you to move into your emotional body and your energetic body and your soul body to be able to do that healing. Here's another question I want to put to you. Wouldn't it be amazing if the moment you recognized you needed help with something, somebody showed up like a genie in your living room or your kitchen or your bedroom and said, I can help you with that. Let's do the work right now. Instead of spending decades sometimes or even lifetimes holding on to something and allowing it to get in the way of you showing up in the world the way that you want to show up in the world. So that's a lot of the soul piece with energy medicine. The soul piece with energy medicine also is looking at those other lifetimes, past, present, and future, and looking to do the soul retrieval work, which is the belief that in a moment of trauma, a piece of ourself energetically stays in that moment until such time as the healing can happen around that event. The soul retrieval is about the practitioner helping the person go back to that moment as an observer and do whatever work is necessary to bring that piece of their soul back. So it takes our understanding of post-traumatic stress syndrome and it adds a layer of energy medicine to it, in which we recognize that part of why PTSD is so impactful is that we've left a piece of ourselves behind to look after that experience for us until we can do the work around it. So mind, body, and soul. That's what energy medicine addresses. Go to your doctor if you know something is wrong physically. Please. There are amazing doctors in this world. They are doing really, really good work. The intention is not to create an imbalance, but it's in fact to build a bridge between something like energy medicine and something like mainstream physical medicine. Use all the tools that you have at your disposal. That's what people learn when they take the Confident Healer, is they learn all these tools so that they can use them on themselves primarily, and then to help others to have that experience. I'd love to open up a conversation today. I would love for you to ask questions to Marilyn and I, whatever you would like to ask about energy medicine, about our journeys, about your journey, anything that you're curious about, or to share some of your own experiences around energy and energy healing and energy medicine. I don't want to stand up here and be the expert, because I know that every one of you, each one of you, has your expertise. That's what your story is, right? Although I'm standing, there are no pedestals. Don't look over here. I love that we're in a circle, because this is how I normally teach, is in the circle, so that we have an understanding that we are all contributing something of value and importance to whatever the conversation is.
I'm always brave.
Awesome. Bring it
I'm
on.
not a practitioner
Get us
whatsoever,
started.
but my name is Amanda,
Hi,
and
Amanda.
I am just into spiritual things and thought this was a really cool opportunity and came with my girlfriends and think it's really cool.
Beautiful. I love your tattoo.
Thanks.
You're very. Who is she?
So this is actually a tattoo for my daughters. I have two little girls that are very, very into fairies and anything magical.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for introducing you to us. I'm curious. I have a question for you. You say you're not a practitioner.
You totally are. Okay, well. Okay, so yeah, no, I read like tarot cards and my girls are totally into that too. But I don't like. Yeah.
She's very
I'm
good
not a-
intuition though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a healer in her own.
She is.
Yes.
For sure.
I had a feeling. And you know, there's lots of different ways to show up in the world as a healer. You can have your own healing practice, and people can come and pay you money to help them on their healing journey. You can write books about it. You can create videos about it. You can create courses about it. You can also show up in your life willing to do your own work, to be that light for other people. You can be that undercover light worker, to use Doreen Virtue's term. You can take your ability to be empathetic and understanding and compassionate into whatever work that you're doing in order to make a difference in somebody else's life. Because you don't know what that impact is going to be of you deciding to show up and be yourself. And how amazing a healing experience that can be for somebody else. Right? All right, well, Amanda got us started. Come on, here's your chance. You've been here all day. You've met all kinds of cool people. You must have questions. What's come up for you while you've been here? What brought you here? Who would like to share? Why did you come here today?
I came here today because I'm from Calgary and just moved here a couple months ago. And I was involved with spiritual people in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking for like-minded and to get into groups and continue. I'm on a spiritual journey myself.
Beautiful.
Life change. I'm going with it.
Excellent. Excellent, I love it. And there's a beautiful community here,
Yes.
North Island, yeah. There's talks going on, there's workshops going on, there's trainings going on. There's some incredible things happening on our island right now, and in the world for that matter.
Well,
Yes.
I just moved to Nanaimo a year ago.
Congratulations.
Just from Vancouver.
Oh, that
Not too
place
far
over
away.
there, across the pond.
Well, I live in a neighbourhood that has a wonderful fitness centre at the end of the road, and I took up yoga for the first time and was fortunate enough to befriend one of the yoga teachers. And through her, I've met many other yoga teachers, and also Gypsy, who organised this there. And I have my mother visiting from the UK. I've managed to get
Hi,
her all
Mom.
the way, even though she, as you can see, she's a little disabled at the moment, but she made the journey, which was wonderful. And my sister-in-law here is also visiting from England, and she herself is a Reiki healer.
Wonderful.
So we have another healer amongst us. And my daughter from New York is visiting as well.
Excellent.
But you're right in
Wow.
what you say. I've never lived in a community that offers so many different modalities of healing and
Yeah.
just spiritual awareness. I love what you talked about, what you do yourself. It's
Thank
fantastic.
you.
And it's just opened my mind to so many other areas that I wasn't exposed to before in my life.
Beautiful.
And I'm very open and learning, and it's fantastic. I just feel so much more peace living here because of what's available to me
Yeah.
here, and I just feel I've just landed in it's a utopia.
Excellent. Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. There is something very unique about the energy of Vancouver Island. And we've all felt it. That's why we're here, right? And I think like with all islands, it either loves you or rejects you. I really feel like there is a truth to that experience, and they say that about Hawaii. I was recently in Iceland this summer. That's an island that will either love you up or not, because it is a very unforgiving island. Not the people are lovely, but the landscape itself is incredibly unforgiving, incredibly harsh, and very, very raw. And I've heard people either say, well, I had an amazing experience in Iceland, or it was the worst thing I've ever done and I'll never go back and do it again, right? Because energy exists in our landscape, and we have a resonance with that energy or we don't, and that resonance will depend on many things, like we've been here before in another lifetime and it was wonderful, or it was awful, and hence we don't want to be here. It could be that there's energies trapped in the landscape that we can feel that are unhappy energies from past events, and that might repel us. Or there's lots of beautiful love in the environment, and we feel drawn to that. A lot of the healing that we do it's more than simply our own healing, which in itself is incredible and amazing. It's that when we walk through the world, feeling good about ourselves, feeling healthy, whatever that looks like to us, feeling well, we have an impact on the ground that we walk on too. And I feel that we could, just by being in our own body and being in our own authenticity and our own self, we could walk on the ground and we could heal the ground of the things that it needs to have healed. Right? And I live down in Victoria, and there are areas in Victoria energetically that I find very challenging to be in. And I know some of the history of Victoria, and I recognize that some of these places are holding that history. There's a corner in downtown Victoria where, just shortly after I moved back here, I'm from this area originally, just after I shortly moved back here, there was a stabbing. A young husband was stabbed on the corner, leaving behind a pregnant wife and a 4-year-old. And there was something about that whole event that was so tragic in its seeming, what's the right word, like randomness, in its seeming randomness. And I know when I think about why I do this work, that's one of the reasons why I do this work. Because I want to better understand the experiences that we have. Why do we have these experiences? Right? Are we just at the whim of the universe and none of it has anything to do with us? And it's just a really unhappy event? Or are we, on some level of consciousness and awareness, participating in the experience because it has meaning for us and there is a purpose and a reason for the experience happening, even when it is something as tragic as what I just described to you. I prefer to believe that there is a reason and a meaning and a purpose. And I find that to be a really empowering belief. And I know when I've worked with my clients and we've looked at their story and we've looked at their experiences and we can change their mindset from this happened to me and I'm a victim to I understand now what this was for. Then we move into a space of empowerment, right? When I think of my life experiences, and I've done my own work and I continue to do my own work, it's such an important part of being a healer is to do your own work. I can look at the experiences that I've had, both wonderful and tragic, and come from a place of believing that the whole reason that those things happened to me was to bring me here, to this moment, where I have the privilege of interacting with all of you. I have the privilege of being in this beautiful event today and being in the energy of all the healers that are out there and all the people that are coming to see. And if one of those things that I experienced hadn't happened, this would not be happening right now. And I suppose that that speaks to the belief in a divine plan of some sort. For me, that's a divine plan that I'm an active participant in. In my belief system, it isn't that there is an entity up here who is pulling the strings and directing me. I get to have a say in the events of my life. So now, when things come at me, or to me, or feel like they're happening to me, with that thought in mind, I can have a different kind of relationship with those events, right? So the car accident that gave me spiral whiplash and a concussion and took me out for 2 years, that's not a tragedy in my way of thinking about it. For me, that was part of a larger wake-up call that I write about in my book, The Heart's Journey, and the oracle cards that I created from that. If that hadn't happened, and if I didn't have the belief system that I have about there being a reason and a meaning for that, it could be easy to spiral into, well, it was his fault for hitting me, and goddamn ICBC there, blah, 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 and I could go there. And then I'd get even sicker. That's what I personally believe. I would rather move into the idea that, okay, all right, that happened. What can I do with it? Right? What lemonade can I make out of the lemon? And when I'm in that mindset, I'm not taking it personally. Car accident wasn't a personal attack on me. I didn't deserve it. It wasn't some karmic debt that I was paying. There's no punishment around that event. I called the event to me because my higher self knew there was a direction I needed to go in that I was stubbornly refusing to go in. And despite every other red flag that had been given to me, I was happy to do this. I can't see you, I can't see you. And so something bigger had to happen. And then I had to do the healing around the why of that. And I had to give it meaning and purpose in my life. For me, that's a huge part of the healing journey. But that may have been a bit of a rabbit hole. Because I wanted to have some more voices. Who else would like to say something, share something? We're all friends here. In fact, we've all sat in circle before. Do you know that? It is my personal belief that whenever we sit in circle, it's because this particular group of souls has, at some point in time, also sat in circle, energetically. And we were each drawn to this moment so that we could be in each other's energies again, for whatever reason. So you're among friends. That's what I'm saying. Let me put this to the group. Has anyone had an aha moment today as you've been going around and meeting all the practitioners and seeing everybody? Synchronicities.
Like, I know I've met you and I don't know what it is. I even met your husband and you spun me around. She's talking, I'm like, I'm going. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going. And it's just funny, like I ended up here at 11 a.m. this morning, despite all of the challenges that I thought I was gonna face, and I did face, I ended up here, coffee in hand, supported, feeling like, okay. But it was just, I think it's just that decision to heal yourself first, because I've been wanting to heal other people, and yet I haven't been able to heal me first. So I'm here to kind of get that guidance so that I can help and serve other people.
Yeah, there are no accidents. I really believe that. I really believe there are no accidents. And so with that in mind, when something happens to me, the first place I go to is, oh, that was really curious. I wonder why that happened. I wonder who that person is. I wonder why they showed up in my life. There's an openness that happens within ourselves, within our heart, when we come at our lives from a place of curiosity. Right? Instead of needing to know, needing to be right, needing to judge it, we're open to that curiosity of the encounter, of the interaction of our paths crossing. Yeah. Marilyn, just before we end the talk, because we're getting to that point, I would love for you to share what it was like for you to move into that moment of knowing when you were doing the program that this was for you.
Okay, which one?
Yeah. Remember the first couple of months where we really do our own work? We do a lot of our own healing in those first few months.
Oh, well, Megan, I knew that before we got going. I mean, it was like, it's, yeah, I mean,
I'm not thinking of anything in specific. I'm wondering from that time that we spent with the group in those first few months of doing our own personal work.
well, maybe the day, like one of the features that you have in the program is that you have 3 sessions with you. And I was struggling because we had this use of Facebook, which I had never belonged to a group on Facebook before, and neither did a lot of the others. And not only that, like much as I had a Facebook account, a lot of them didn't. So I was feeling kind of, well, I guess vulnerable, because I was sharing and nothing else was coming back. And I started to feel like, well, you know, they're gonna think things about me and stuff like that. And yet you had brought that up as a teaching point, was that, you know, there's the 90-10 rule that you talked about, where 90% of the time they're not really thinking about you, they're thinking about themselves and so on. And I thought I got that, right? And then what did we do? We had my first session with you. We did that over Skype, which, you know, that was kind of like, okay. And my laptop, thank goodness. And so, an hour and a half session over there. And that's what came up, was that I was caught up in this 90-10 thing. And I thought I didn't have to worry about that one. That was put in an aha moment. And it helped considerably, because then I could flow and not worry about what anybody else was thinking. I mean, if I can share this, I'm going to share it. And I just went ahead and did it.
Yeah, and that's the confidence piece, right?
Yeah.
So as we come to the close of our talk today, I want to share Marilyn with you. Marilyn, please come up here.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, but she's going to be standing in front of you. Okay, I'm just going to move over. Okay, so Marilyn is your go-to person here in Nanaimo. If you want to experience some of the work that we've been talking about today, either the intuitive energy massage work or the intuitive counseling piece, Marilyn is our certified practitioner up in this neck of the woods. So please come by our table. I think you've got her card, actually. We did pass the cards around, business cards.
I ran out.
You ran out, okay. Well, you can come to our table and you can talk more with Marilyn about the work that she's doing. She's an amazing healer. And one of the things that I said at the very beginning was about collaboration, right? Not competition, but collaboration. I want to support all of my healers. I want them to succeed in their businesses so that the people who are waiting for them don't have to wait any longer. Okay? So, Marilyn, she's your go-to girl. Also, we're going to be bringing IEM up to Nanaimo sometime in the new year. We're hoping February or March. So if that's something that you're interested in doing the training, and coming down to Victoria is not going to work for you, you can get in touch with us when those courses start up here. And lastly, what you were given today. You were given a bookmark. That's the bookmark that comes with The Heart's Journey, which is the Oracle card box set that I've published with Hay House and Balboa Press. I also gave you a little plastic card. If you follow the instructions on the back of that plastic card on your computer, it will take you to the ebook of The Heart's Journey. And also some of them I think are the journal. Now I'm going to apologize ahead of time. My publisher did not do a stellar job on the ebook. So it's wabi-sabi, which is the Japanese proverb that says nothing is perfect. So bear with it. But if you do love what you see in there, you can get the actual real deal through me and through some of the shops that we have in Nanaimo. We're at Lobelia's Lair and we're at WTF in Parksville and a few other places as well. Or you can get in touch with me directly and I will send you up a copy, signed, sealed, and delivered. And please, if you also want to experience IEM, we are doing mini sessions. Marilyn and my friend Susan, who's also one of our certified practitioners, are doing mini sessions at our table for the next hour and a half or however long we're here for. And I would love to thank all of you for being you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.